guys, Chris here with Chris Sobolev Fine Art. You thought I was going to say Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers, and I almost did because I have said that phrase every single day, sometimes twice a day or 3 times a day for the last 4 years. So if you want to, you can go check out our Super Savvy Travelers channel. It's all about property purchases in Italy, living in Italy, moving to Italy, all of that stuff. We cover all that stuff, and renovations in Italy. We're very into that kind of thing. But I'm also very into art and painting. And I thought I'd give you a little kind of a little idea about how I fell into this. I mean, obviously I'm not 12, or 16 or whatever age you want to assign me. I'm a little older than that. And what makes a person at this point in life completely pivot and take on something so new and so completely different than anything I've ever really done before? Because, a year and a half ago or a year and 3 months ago, I couldn't draw my way out of a paper bag. I mean, I could not. If my life depended on it, I could not draw something and have it be in proportion and look like the thing it's supposed to be. I'd have eyes over here and like a beak, doing whatever. And it just was like so frustrating for me, and I could not get it. So, basically to back up a little bit, Super Savvy Travelers started way back before COVID hit. We were a travel agency and we were selling cruises, and we did okay with that. We didn't really like doing it. It wasn't all that fun. Going on the cruises was a lot of fun, but selling cruises was not very much fun. I'm just going to be honest. So when COVID hit, we saw that the cruise industry would really tanked, and it was tanked for years. I mean, those billion-dollar cruise ships were just sitting in the ports in Aruba and various other Caribbean islands. They were just sitting there with a skeleton crew on them, waiting till the day that they could actually take passengers. So I thought, okay, we really need to pivot. And I was walking through the living room one day, and I thought, you know what? Pete and I, we bought our house in Santa Domenica, Talao, about 15 years ago, and had been coming back and forth and actually living here for a while, for certain junctures and whatnot. And we had bought and renovated and run B&Bs here in Italy. So we purchased and sold, purchased and renovated, did all these things here in Italy and learned a lot, and basically really came up with a great network, thanks to Antonello Lucchesi, who's the architect up in Santa Domenica. He has been instrumental in helping us get this fabulous network together, the network of, architects and builders and furniture suppliers and custom bespoke cabinet. Everything you can think of that you need, lawyers, everything you need, we have. And most of that is because of Antonello. So kudos to Antonello for being so awesome. Anyway, so when COVID hit, I went, okay, we're going to do something else. I wonder if anyone would be interested in purchasing houses in Italy, especially in our village, because Antonello had been like, hey, let's do something together, and purchasing houses, renovating houses, moving over here, all of those things that we were really, really familiar with. And I said, okay, I'm going to try something, and that's when the €1 Italian house thing was so popular. It was just going nuts. And I did a video that's still wildly popular because the €1 Italian house thing is like a wave. It comes in and it crashes, and it comes in and it crashes. And when it comes in, everybody looks for that video. Thank goodness, because it's a very, very valuable video. It is called The Truth About €1 Italian Houses. And when I go through it, I go through in detail why, all the things that you need to think about when you buy a €1 Italian house. And in essence, why you should do something else. And just being honest. So that thing went viral, and I was like, whoa, oh my goodness, people are interested. So I started posting every day on certain things, certain houses. Like Antonella was sending me pictures and stuff, and I was putting the property listings up there. The agents in the area here got interested. They started sending me stuff and working with us and everything else. So there was a lot of content, even during COVID when we were stuck in California. There was a lot of content going up on that channel with a lot of really good information, and people loved it. And at that time, I started building up some groups and things. We had a Saturday morning Italian discussion where all of us Americani got together and tried to speak Italian to each other. And it was a lot of fun. We learned some things, and some of us were better than others. And, I think Ruth was the best. Ruth was the best one on that. And, there was some other people that could speak it pretty well. Rosalie was good too. I was kind of getting by at that point, and everybody else was too, but it was a lot of fun, and we created a really nice group. It was great. But what we didn't realize was that once COVID ended and Italy opened up, people came over in a wave, like a tidal wave of people came over, and they all wanted properties and they all needed renovations. And they I mean, I was so busy every single day. I mean, that summer, I have to say, as exhausted as we were, it was epic. I've never seen anything like it. Antonello and I were run, and then we'd eat lunch really fast, then we'd run off to another appointment. And one day we were just back-to-back appointments, and it was so funny because there's this group of German people who showed up, and then another woman showed up. Oh, I want to see this house here. They didn't have appointments. We weren't ready for them. Antonello grabbed my arm and he says, "What have we done?" And I said, "I don't know." But somehow everybody got seen. Everybody got taken care of. They all bought their houses. The renovations all got going. And really for 2 years, I mean, actually going on 3 years, the renovations have been ongoing. I mean, they were backed up initially, but they're getting caught up and a lot of them are rolling off the line. So it's really, really cool to see that. So, and if you watched any of the videos with the Antonello Lucchese, the guy is an incredible architect. So it was a huge creative thing. Antonello and I would go through and we go, what would you do here? We'd go through crusty ruins and he'd be like, "Don't walk in the middle of the floor." And I'm like, "Why not?" And he says, "Well, because you'll fall through." I'm like, "Oh, okay." We had to go around the edge, places you'd never be allowed in California. So it was a lot of fun. And we really had a great time doing it. So, we set up Super Savvy Travelers and we, worked on that, and a lot. We still have clients coming over to Calabria, a ton of clients coming over, and we're helping them, and we're going to continue, and that's really fun. But what started me with the art thing, I will tell you that 3 years ago, there was a person in our village, not one of the locals, not an Italian, who decided that she was going to threaten us and do all these things, run us out of town so she could try to take over our business. It was really creepy and really weird and really stalkery and gang stalkery. So, false reports to the Guardia di Finanza, "Oh, she's not paying her taxes." Well, of course we were, so that went nowhere. And when that went nowhere, suddenly our car was on fire in our driveway at 1:30 a.m. on October 22nd, 2022. And that was the shot across the bow. And then, since we didn't leave, we started getting threatening letters, extortion letters, disgusting letters. And it was really interesting because the more letters this person sent, the more obvious it was who it was. I mean, these were drunken letters. I mean, okay, note to you guys, if you ever are going to try to extort somebody or threaten them or intimidate them, don't write drunken letters. Just give yourself away. It was so obvious. So I confronted that person and the threat stopped. But then, of course, the whispering campaign, the gang stalking, the lies, the social media posts. I mean, it was so gross. And I'm not going to go into all of that right now because it's gross and disgusting. But on top of that, I fell and pretty much shattered my ankle a year and 3 months ago, I think, January last year, not this year. That was pretty devastating because I had to head over to Puglia. I had to have major surgery. I was in the hospital for a week. Very painful. It took a long time to get back on my feet, and I'm still a little squidgy, at times. But I had a lot of downtime, and I went, you know what? Like, I never wanted to do art for some reason. I just knew I would be attacked. Like, if I excelled at anything, I would be attacked. And I went, you know what? I'm already under such heavy attack. I'm going to do art. So I did. I decided that I knew that if I just had the right training, I would be able to do it. I knew I could do it. I just needed the right training. So I looked and looked and looked. I was looking for something very heavy on the fundamentals. Very, like, here's the base, like, here's a pencil. That's how I wanted. I wanted to start from the very beginning, perfect every step until I got up to the point where I was actually creating really beautiful paintings and art and everything else. And like I said, I had a lot of downtime. I was in my house with the foot up. I may as well draw. And finally, I found the Milan Art Institute Mastery Program, and it was just a godsend. And I remember the first video I watched, it was how to draw anything in 3 easy steps. And I think it's on YouTube. I think you can just watch it on YouTube. It is pure gold. Because after that, I drew a bird, and guess what? The beak was in the right place. The legs came out at the right angle. everything was right as far as proportions and perspective and everything else. I was like, holy cow, this is just the first lesson. And I could kind of paint before. I understood a little bit about light and shade, and I'd been watching YouTube videos, but I couldn't draw. I didn't know how to draw. And so I went through that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then I signed up immediately. I signed up for the mastery program. A year of intensive art-related study and practice, and tons of painting, tons of drawing, charcoal, and every medium you could possibly think of. Alcohol inks, acrylics, oil painting was very big. And that was the first thing we really learned, besides just learning how to draw, was oil painting techniques. Because guess what? Oil painting is awesome. I know people go, oh, acrylics. I love oil painting more than anything in the world. I could sit there and just paint for days with oil paints. I love it so much. Now, I do use acrylics on my backgrounds because backgrounds are big and acrylics can take you a long way. Plus, you can get some really cool effects with the acrylic inks and the alcohol inks and all those things, which you'll see in some of my paintings and that. So in short, I just dove into this program and I just painted. And while this was going on, the gang stalking started up in high gear. And it was very interesting because every time I would have a win for Santa Domenica Talao, like at one point the ex-mayor of Palo Alto came to visit us, came to visit me and Antonello and the mayor in Santa Domenica Talao. We had a lovely day together. We all ate at the Bella Vista and it was really wonderful. But Palo Alto's a big deal. And so when I put that on social media, oh, here come the lies and the social media attacks. I mean, every single time I had a win for Santa Domenica. So on top of that, CNN Travel was getting very interested, and the gal there, Sylvia, great journalist, by the way, she writes some really beautiful articles about Italy and people moving over. And she and I had a rapport, and she'd go, oh, you know anybody like this? I go, yeah, and I'd send them to her and she'd interview them. And there was a lot of attention on Santa Domenica, I think like 6 or 7 articles coming out about people who had moved there. And it was, this is CNN Travel, this is huge. Every time I had a win like that, the attacks would just come in thick and fast. The lies that were told, that spread around as if they were truth, were absolutely disgusting. And it just went on and on. I mean, if you've ever been bullied, like really bullied, like I see these kids that commit suicide because they're bullied. That's what it is. That's what it feels like. And it's awful. Bullying is just one of the worst things people can do. And when they start ganging up and bullying, it's really nasty. And that's what was happening. So it was just so upsetting because I could not communicate, right? I couldn't go out and go, oh my God, on social media. I have a brand to protect. I have a channel. I didn't want it to turn into the Real Housewives of Americans in Italy. I just did not want that, right? And it wasn't a good idea. And my coach, Marla, was like, settle down, Chris, settle down. So instead, I painted. And I painted and painted and painted. And one day, there was one attack. I'm not going to go into it because I want to protect the people involved, but not the guilty one. It was so nasty and so upsetting that I said, okay, I know I can't talk about it. So I got out a canvas and I painted it the most angry red, black, yellow that I could paint, like hell. I made it look like hell. And then I found the most vicious, snarling tiger I could possibly find. I combed through Pixabay and all these other photo sites to find the most intensely angry tiger. And I said, I'm going to paint that. And I'm going to sit here in front of my easel until it's perfect. And I did. I painted it. And when I was done, I stepped back and I said, oh my God, I'm a painter. And I'm getting a little choked up because that's something I secretly always wanted to be. And to look at this tiger who was so perfectly expressing everything that I needed to express right then was just such an exhilaration. So I calmed down and then I painted some doves in the corner and the big sphere that I like to paint to kind of soften it up a little bit. But no, that tiger, he means business, and that tiger is the real Chris. I mean, I can be soft and cuddly and, sweet and nice, and I am, to almost everybody. But let me tell you, I can also have claws. So, yeah, so we did a lot of handlings. I did a lot of criminal background checks, and big surprise, some of the people involved were really, really nasty criminals against some of the most vulnerable in our society. Won't go into that either. And, let them know that I had this information. They better back off and settle down, or else there was going to be some exposition happening. And I did share all of this with the mayor in Santa Dominica Talao so that, they got to know that somebody like this might be coming back into the village, and they got to be prepared. So anyway, that started my tiger series. And I was like, God, I love painting tigers. I mean, the hours that I spent just getting the details right, getting the eyes perfect, getting the stripes just so, and creating an expression that really communicated. It's like, I don't know, it's like Zen or meditation, or you're going off to some distant planet and just creating things. It just is the most amazing experience. So I painted a bunch more tigers, and I really love my tiger series. They just have been really, really therapeutic. I just painted another tiger. You can see him behind me. He's a white tiger, kind of gold a little bit. He's a pretty boy. I love painting tigers, and I love painting panthers and all those other things too. And probably one of the things I love the most is painting like a beautiful painting with a woman, or a child or something. I just love painting beautiful people. And, even some people that might not be classically beautiful, if you really look, you can see, and really it's what you see is really them. And that spark comes out when you paint them, because if you see something that you fall in love with, you're going to paint something spectacular. So I like doing that. I'll paint more men, I promise. I just need to do it, and get familiar with it. But painting women and children, I've been loving it so much because they're so beautiful. And they really are expressive, and that's one of my favorite things to do. One of the latest ones I did is the gal with the hedgehog. That's one of my favorites. I've always wanted a hedgehog, and don't have one, so now I do. Always wanted a horse too. Now I have a horse as well. So so that's what got me started painting. It's been a year and 3 months. I just finished all of the videos and all of the marketing. I mean, the Milan Art Institute is not just painted. The whole last part is marketing and social media and setting up your this and doing your that and blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff, super important. So all I need to do is get my website up and live and put my portfolio on the website, send it to them, and I'll get my certificate. Very excited about that. And the super exciting thing is we are heading up to Torrita di Siena in Tuscany. And we have a place up there, and right below the place is the ideal retail space for a little gallery. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to open up a little gallery. I'm going to put my paintings in there. I've seen a lot of beautiful artists on the Milan Art Institute community, and I might be sending some invites to them. Wouldn't it be awesome if people came over from wherever and spent 3 or 4 days with an exhibition of their art in the studio and in the gallery with me? Meanwhile, while I'm running the gallery, I can be painting in the back. It's going to be perfect. So that's what got me started into art. The need to communicate, the need to let people know, what's going on. Even when your tongue is tied for whatever reason, you pull out a canvas and you start painting, and boy, oh boy, it's pretty obvious what you're thinking, what you're feeling and thinking at that time. So it's very freeing. It's lovely. If you want to start arting, you should take the Milan Art Institute Mastery Program. It's intense. I'm telling you, you're going to be intensely into it. But when you get out the other side, you will be a professional painter. You will be selling your art, and you will be an artist just like I am now. So there you go, guys. I hope that gives you a little glimpse of the day of the life of, Chris and Pete and, Gigi and everybody else. And I am so looking forward to seeing you in the gallery, because I'm setting up a coffee station there, and we'll have cookies and coffee. And if you happen to be in Tuscany, in Torrita di Siena, you happen to stumble down the main drag there, you're going to see my blue Ape out front. Ape is that little 3-wheeled truck. It's going to have flowers all over it because my friend Anna is painting it for me right now. And it's going to have my paintings displayed in the back with a bunch of flowers inside. Look for the Ape and you'll see my studio. And you're welcome to come in and have a coffee with me. We can talk about anything. You want to talk about properties? We can talk about properties. You want to talk about painting and art? We'll do that too. So there you go, guys. Thanks for listening. See you soon.